We've got another Dave Ramsey video here, guys. The title of this one is How Do We Combine Finances with a Prenup? Now, you know I had to get in this conversation. Shout out to the subscriber that's been reminding me, and I appreciate those reminders, to react to this specific video. Also, you can shoot me content at support@shishazed.com. Don't waste your time. Let's get it.
So I'm going to try to be brief here. I am a single mom to a 5-year-old boy. I don't receive any child support. I have a career in finance. I gross $140K a year.
Look at you. Way to go, girl.
Thank you. I have a pretty low net worth. It's about $50K. 15K of that is an emergency fund. My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years. We love each other. We are discussing marriage. His net worth is a lot bigger than mine. He has a trust fund and he lives off the dividends of his trust. The principal is about $2 million.
He doesn't work?
He owns a business, but it is not profitable. He's owned it for 10 years.
So he's a hobby.
It's a hobby. He doesn't pay himself a salary.
Yeah, businesses that don't make a profit are called a hobby.
Yeah, it's kind of like a passion.
That's not a good indicator of his character.
Wait. How do we jump to assessing his character based on how he's decided to set up his financial situation? How have we already put the man in the no good category just based on the fact that he wants to live off? Because we're speculating here, right? Taking her word for it that he wants to live off his trust. And what if he did want to do that? What if it was just a hobby? What if his parents said, hey, we want to leave you this? And he looked at his life and said, there are other things I want to do that are challenging. How do you know he doesn't have other ways of finding fulfillment in his life? And this is part of the problem with platforms that I think are great, like the Dave Ramsey Show and other conservative-leaning platforms, is they approach each situation with assuming that the man is in the wrong. And it's that type of culture that was so prevalent for a very long time that birthed people like myself. Other platforms that highlight situations where they're like, hold on a second, this isn't making sense. And platforms where people highlight things from a male perspective. They can say, listen, are men perfect? Definitely not. I know I'm not perfect. But the way this conversation is going so far, it sounds like he's about to pander to this woman who's obviously upset about her potential future husband proposing a prenuptial agreement.
He considers it like community service.
Yeah, I consider it he's hiding in his trust fund money.
It's a bad idea. What's the business?
It's a bike shop. He has 4 more years of his commercial lease, and then he's planning on closing the doors.
How old is he?
When it's over. He's 43.
Have you discussed
and
a long-term range?
how?
I'm 37.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let us stop peppering you. How can we help you, hon?
So I'm under the assumption that you would recommend a prenup given the dramatic difference in our net worth. I apply this program to my life, and I would like to apply it to my marriage as well.
Is she crying?
Why the tears?
I don't know.
Mr. Ramsey, you know why the tears. The Coffee Pod is backed by FathersHaveRights.com. One of the most shocking things an attorney revealed in our prenuptial agreement guide is that times are changing. More and more women are the ones demanding prenups. Yes, typically a man will be more hesitant, more afraid to bring up the conversation of a prenuptial agreement before marriage. However, women who are protecting their assets have no problem making it very clear that they will not get married without a prenuptial agreement, especially women who are the primary earners or came from a family with money or business. So the idea that only men care about prenups is a myth. When women who plan to get married have something to protect, they protect it. So my question to all future husbands is, why shouldn't you? Well, the good news is it's not too late. If you need a prenup but don't know where to start, click the link pinned to the top of the comment section and take the first step in protecting your future marriage today.
If we have a prenup, how do we combine our finances?
Okay. The prenup does not discuss the monthly operation of the household in most cases. Most of the time, the prenup just says what happens to the $2 million trust fund if you get split up. In other words, a prenup would be something as simple as, if you did do a prenup, just be as simple as he leaves the marriage with his $2 million trust fund, and you leave the marriage with $50,000 a net worth, or you leave the marriage with everything else, and he leaves with whatever it is. I don't care. But I mean, most prenups kind of start with the idea we leave with at least what we came in with. And that's it. It's only if you leave the marriage that does it come up. But it's not like the money coming off the $2 million that allows him to not be profitable or productive, gross, becomes part of your household income, even if you have a prenup. So that's how you combine your finances.
In short, without actually saying it, Dave Ramsey's actually agreeing with the prenup. And he hasn't always agreed with prenups, but out of his own mouth, he's admitted that when there's a drastic difference in earning, he believes in prenups. I think everybody should have a prenup, unless if they both decide that they don't want one. Because I would probably bet that his children have prenuptial agreements when it comes to their marriage, or their businesses are protected in some form or fashion. If his kids were to go through a divorce, he wouldn't want them bringing down the Ramsey empire, which is an amazing thing that he's built. And guys, I admire Dave Ramsey for what he does offer and the value that he's brought to myself and many people. However, there are also situations like this, situations where they find it very difficult to call out an obviously very greedy fiance who's willing to use tears and manipulation. Just keep listening.
But we're not, so we won't combine all of our bank accounts, though?
Yeah, you combine all your bank accounts. Absolutely. Absolutely. His trust fund is not a bank account. His trust fund's an investment.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have any control over the trust fund at all?
I'm sorry, guys. I have to pause it again. How he just said, yeah, absolutely. You combine all your bank accounts. He doesn't know. He can't know that. The prenup can say that they'll keep their bank accounts separate, right? He's assuming that her future husband is going to draft a prenup the way that the Ramsey show would want him to. And that's just not the case. Guys, you can take power into your own hands. Listen, women today, they don't have any problems asking men with prenups. They do not. They protect what they have. Men typically have issues having these type of conversations, and good for this future husband, he was able to bring this up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So anything that's
my other question,
anything that's in and around the trust fund would not necessarily be in your name. But even if it is in your name, the prenup would, if you switch everything to your name, the prenup would just say, in the event the marriage breaks up, it goes back to his name.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it would say. It's not operationally inside the marriage. It's only what happens at the end of the marriage. Most of them, I've seen a few of them that interfere in the marriage, but most of them are what happens in the event the marriage dissolves. Simple.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And your second question is what?
Well, how do I build wealth with somebody who already has wealth and isn't really motivated to build more wealth?
Now, there's a key issue. Now you've opened up a whole nother can of worms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to love you enough to tell you the truth. A guy that doesn't work for a profit and isn't productive scares me.
Oh, come on.
If he's marrying my daughter, I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And the trust fund has allowed him to not become who God intended him to be, a productive citizen that goes out there, leaves the cave, kills something, and drag it home. Instead, it's stunted his emotional development, and he runs a bike shop that's not profitable.
Wait, what if this narrative is so crazy because it assumes that he could be profitable if he wanted to. He's just choosing not to be profitable in the business. There's so many different ways you can look at this. What if this hobby is temporal? Has he told her that he wants to do this for the rest of his life? What else does he have planned? Maybe he does want to run a profitable business, but he's struggling to figure things out. There's just so many leaps and bounds here and assumptions. And I get it, right? As creators and viewers, also, we only can work with what we're told and seen. However, from what I've seen, the tears, the fake crying, the fact that now it's an issue once he's brought up the prenuptial agreement, she is a red flag. But if she chooses to sign that prenup and comes to her senses, then, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of becoming the man that God wanted him to be. That scares me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking in from the outside and I'm being a little bit harsh, but I'm short on time and I love you and I want you to hear that. I don't want to leave this being dishonest with you.
At least he knows.
Thank you.
It's greatly concerning to me, and I would want you to deal with that And if I'm your old ugly Uncle Dave, I would want you guys in pre-marriage counseling to get to the bottom of some of that stuff, and some of that be solved to your satisfaction. Because, girl, you, on the other hand, are a warrior princess.
Oh my God.
78%.
I'm sorry. I messed up my camera angle. You guys see what I mean? Single mom who has a child and, definitely should be married if she's somebody who would identify as Christian, so on and so forth. Things happen, I get it. But we just assume she's a warrior princess. But the guy who has a hobby proposing a prenup to the single mother who he's willing to give a chance to and accept a child that's not his, he's lazy, he's a red flag, so on and so forth.
52% of the single moms live below the poverty level. You make $140,000 a year. You're self-sustaining and raising a human. You're kind of amazing.
You got to get those female viewers in.
Dave took the words out of my mouth. I was going to play the older brother card, and I went on a rant last week with a very similar situation like this on this show. And I said, ladies, don't marry doofuses. And I'm not.
He may not be.
Well, but hold on.
The indicators are good.
I understand. Look at you all of a sudden, Mr.
Dave Ramsey's like, hey, we can't be too obvious with our pandering. A doofus. Now he's a doofus.
I'm trying to give him a break.
I'm not, because we've heard enough. I'm not saying he's a bad person, but being a doofus and being a bad person are two different things. You have a great heart, and I'm just telling you, I have the exact same fear here. This is a big deal. 3 years you guys have been dating. He's been on this plan for 10 years. I don't think that $2 million lasts as long as he thinks. I'm concerned about that.
Acting like $2 million is a lot of money.
It's not at 43. That's why I asked that question. How old is he? So I echo Dave, and I'm saying I think premarital counseling.
So you guys see that? She earns 140, 150K. Oh, warrior princess. Look at you go. That's a lot of money. Good job. $2 million. Oh, that ain't shit. Doofus. And then they wonder why men are tired of this type of rhetoric. I don't even know what a doofus is. I definitely have heard it my whole life. Let's talk to our AI assistant barista, Miss Coffee here. Miss Coffee, what is a doofus? Looks like an idiot or something. The man with $2 million is the idiot. Oh, man.
Oh, love. That's an easy one. Doofus is just a light, funny insult. It means someone who's being silly, clueless, or kind of dumb, but not in a harsh way. Think of it like saying, he's not a bad guy. He's just a doofus. It's the kind of word you'd use if somebody makes a
Isn't it crazy that she used the exact same explanation he gave? That's why.
Goofy mistake. Like locking their keys in the car or tripping over nothing. Not something cruel, just endearing stupidity. So yeah, a doofus is that lovable mix of bless your heart and what were you thinking?
Right. You see, this is like that boomer perspective on relationships. That this comes with all the other happy wife, happy life mantras and, I'm lucky to have her. I don't know what she saw in an idiot like me.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
You guys get what I mean? Right? The woman's always right. Empty out your bank accounts. And sure, as somebody who identifies as Christian, I get that men have a greater responsibility to the women who do accept their leadership. However, you can't completely remove all accountability from women. And that's what you see on a lot of these like Christian conservative podcasts have been around and survived for a long time, is they go too far the other way.
Is an absolute must. And if he doesn't play ball with that, that would be the final red flag. You've got to take care of you and that 5-year-old. And you can love somebody that is not the right person for you. And again, I'm not accusing him of anything, but I have massive, massive red flags. Same ones Dave has.
So let me play something back to you that I heard, Haley, and I think everybody heard it. Okay. You came into this conversation like you are the one that is not bringing as much to the table. He's bringing everything to the table. And what we're saying is it's actually the opposite.
Yeah, that's right.
This guy needs to step up and earn the right to be with.
Are they serious, bro? Are they serious? The single mom. There's nothing wrong with single moms. I know there's nothing wrong. The single mom who will most likely not take the majority of financial burden, since remember, $2 million is nothing. It's going to run out very quickly. But you still probably expect him to contribute to the household the most. She's the one bringing the most to the table. And I need anyone who has kids, whether you're a single father or a single mom, to not misunderstand me. Single parents get married all the time. However, no woman or man especially wakes up and says, oh, in my future, my goal is to marry somebody who has kids. It is something that people take into consideration and have to weigh out. So this idea like, oh, that shouldn't matter is just ludicrous. It's just crazy. Let me go back a little bit. I can't believe
Bring everything to the table. And what we're saying is it's actually the opposite.
Yeah, that's right.
This guy needs to step up and earn the right to be with Haley because she's a freaking warrior princess. Pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, you're making $140K a year, a single mom, gotten into finance. You're out there swinging the machete through the jungle, kiddo. It's pretty awesome. And, yeah, so you know, he may have $2 million, but he won't have it long if he doesn't change. Yeah. And so that you just need to be careful. Again, all we're looking at is we've known the situation for about a minute and 48 seconds is all. So you know a lot more about it than we do. We could have missed something. The guy might not, but I'm not saying it's 100% off, but there are some things that are concerning enough. You've got to dig into them and get solved before you go forward with this.
And to encourage you, you asked, how do I build wealth with him?
If there's a prenup, it probably needs to include him getting a job that's profitable.
Yeah. But until we figure out if this guy's the guy,
in order to get married to me,
right. But she needs to, but here's the thing:
to become profitable.
You need to work the baby steps, whether or not he's in the picture or not. And you've bought into that. Keep working it. You're doing really well. You got a good income. You can build wealth. You, YOU in caps. You can build wealth.
All right, let's check out some of these comments and see what the people have to say. Top comment here says, he should have never told her he has a trust fund. Somebody else here added to the conversation says, better for him to know now than to know later. Right. So right off the bat, it looks like the comments here aren't really buying the narrative that's been set up here by Dave Ramsey and the host. Somebody else here says, imagine doing something you love, regardless of the profit, and being degraded for it. There you go. I mean, this is a really good point. How many people take on careers, musicians, artists, and yes, sure, there's a lower likelihood that you're going to make it if that's your goal. But what if it's not? What if you just enjoy art and that's all you want to do? There are people out here who pick that path. It doesn't mean that that person's not working well and hard at their craft. Yes, you do need to make money. Now, if this is someone who, if they didn't have that trust, then they would be just bums and not wanting to work, then that's an issue. That's a problem. However, currently, I don't see anything wrong with the situation. Next comment here says, she's a strong, independent boss babe making $140K per year. Why is she so concerned about getting some of his 2M trust she had no part of obtaining if they were to divorce? Somebody responded back and says she only cares about herself and her daughter, and this simp is her meal ticket to wealth. Somebody else who says, why are they dumping on this guy? He gets by fine financially and is happy with what he does. I take issue with them calling him unproductive just because his business doesn't make money. She should have no claim on his trust fund, and it's a big red flag. That's what she's already thinking about before they are even engaged. Well, she has to think about it, right? I don't think it's wrong for her to not think about it. She has to think about it. At fathershaverights.com, I have included in there the same exact script I used when proposing my prenuptial agreement. There are better ways than not to have a prenuptial agreement conversation. And once that's brought up, people start thinking about these things. And it's good that people start asking themselves these very serious questions that will come up in your marriage that they never ask until they get married. And if you want access to that script, you know where to go. One of the things that the attorney recommends in the guide when it comes to timing and the prenup conversation is to not wait too long and really have that conversation before the excitement in the relationship dries out, right? You want to make sure you guys have that conversation when you're both optimistic about each other, when you're both in love, when you're actually looking forward to the future, and preferably not when you're stressed out, thinking about wedding planning. And if that's where you're at, it does not mean that you can't get a prenup. I'm just talking about like ideally, sooner is better than later, because that's when people are in positive sentiment override with each other and she's more open, and you and her are not thinking about everything from a negative perspective. Somebody else says, so weird how she was on the verge of crying. Yeah, that was strange. Somebody else says crying because she wants to figure out a way how to address access to the trust so she can divorce him in a few years and get half. That's funny. Here's somebody else says, poor woman that doesn't get access to his trust fund. How will she survive? Of course, guys, I'm curious to know. What do you think? Till next time, I'm out. Hey, guys, as always, I appreciate you for checking out yet another episode of the Coffee Pod. To my currently engaged or soon-to-be married men, if you need a prenup and would like a guide that shows you how to get a solid and legally binding prenuptial agreement, hit the link into the top of the comment section and access your guide at fathershaverights.com today.